Hello and welcome to another exclusive review by me, Alex Belfield, here at celebrityradio.biz, where we just hit 63 million minutes viewed on YouTube. We're now the #1 reviewer in the UK and Las Vegas online, and we thank you for tuning in. This week we're in Manchester for the world premiere of Back to the Future, the musical 2020, a project that we've heard about for years and has finally made it to the stage. This is a confusing and complicated review because it's hard to know how to review it. If it were a touring production, it would get a far higher star rating than if it were a West End production. This show certainly wouldn't make it on Broadway. Or is it just a limited run for 3 months in Manchester? We've got to discuss all this because tonight tickets were up to £95. Therefore, the claim from producers that it is wrong of me to come and review a preview is completely redundant in this case. Just to put this into context, if you want to see the perfect Les Miserables on tour starring the amazing Dean Chisnell at the Lowry in a couple of weeks' time, top tickets are £65. This show is perfect. Yet tonight I got to watch what was basically a dress rehearsal in front of an audience, with top tickets at £95. This is obscene and frankly fucking ludicrous. Producers, what are you doing? Are you trying to kill your show? It's no wonder that after press night your theatre is virtually empty. People cannot afford to come to these shows and you deserve to fail. Okay, rant over. Now we'll get to the show itself. Well, here's the problem with the show. It's too long for a start. The first act was 90 minutes. We didn't get out of the theatre until 20 to 11. That's frankly ridiculous. It's longer than Les Miserables, and it also has a revolve, so I suppose there are many similarities in that way. It's a bit of a strange show as well, because this show is running until May 17th here in Manchester, and the grids are literally empty after opening night. How this show is going to find momentum and fill this beautiful palace of show business is quite beyond me. It's going to be a struggle. Unfortunately, though, in terms of its content, it puts me in mind of Spamalot that had the tagline, lovingly ripped off. Well, this seems to lovingly rip off everything and everyone. It has a stunning orchestra, really sensational. The pit is full of these magnificent horns and full sound. The drums are amazing. The sound is fantastic. And yet, every song you hear, you feel like you've heard before. That's because it's ripped off from either the producers, or Hairspray, or Grease, or Michael Bublé. There's even a beautiful Run-Around Sue version, which is billed as a new piece of music, but it's so formulaic. You sit there singing along, thinking you've heard it before. It's extraordinary. Even the opening of Act 2 is a complete rip-off of the opening of Act 2 of We Will Rock You. It's incredible. In terms of the story itself, well, it's playing to its crowd, which I think is very niche. This film, based in 1985, is obviously aimed at a millennial crowd. This crowd tonight put me in mind of Dirty Dancing, the night I saw it in London, where they were all cheering and hollering and clapping before the line was delivered, because they were that far ahead of the script. That's fine. It's wonderful to be part of a party, but I wonder whether this show will resonate with anyone like me who isn't obsessed with Back to the Future. Does it stand up as a show on its own? It isn't horrible. It isn't badly performed. It has 2 stars we're going to get to in a moment and a talented ensemble. But it certainly would not stack up as a credible West End show in its current form. I reiterate, I believe I'm entitled to have this opinion because they're charging £95 a ticket. It is not in preview, despite what producers would lead you to believe. In terms of the visual, it's very nice. It certainly doesn't have the polish of a Les Mis or a Mary Poppins on tour, or even a Billy Elliot or anything like that. But it is nicely done. It's certainly a 4 or 5 star touring production, but I'm not sure that's what it is. It seems to me they're doing a dress rehearsal for the West End or something much bigger. And in that case, this is a 3-star production. In terms of the acting, it is stolen by just 2 people who are quite magnificent. Roger Barr, I first interviewed on Broadway, 10, 15 years ago in The Producers, my favourite show ever. And there are certainly nods to that in this show. There's sort of very familiar delivery, which is absolutely fine, of course, if it's done perfectly. And Roger Bart is a star, and I think they did need a Broadway caliber star to drive this show. Comedically, I can't think of anyone in the UK or West End who could have done that part as well as Roger. He has a beautiful singing voice, but a fantastic comic delivery. Those 2 things are incredibly rare globally, let alone in the UK. 5-star performance from Roger Bart, just magnificent. The Michael J. Fox part was played by an adorable Ollie Dobson, who has great heart in the piece. He's instantly lovable and non-intimidating. He should be fragile and certainly be immediately endearing, which he is. He plays that beautifully. What I couldn't understand, which is not his fault, is why in the mix, vocally, he was under the orchestra. He was the only artist in the show who was not put above the orchestra, which is a very bizarre thing for sound to do. I have to presume the director has directed that. It doesn't work for me. He didn't power through with those songs, and that's a shame because, again, I repeat, the orchestra is quite magnificent. The sound is absolutely perfect and very complicated in places. It's beautifully done, but I just wish he'd have been above the mix. In terms of his physicality, his delivery, and his comic timing, it was quite lovely and a perfect performance by Ollie Dobson. As for the car itself, well, I'm not going to spoil it. It's more Scalextrics than spectacular. The video stuff in this musical, and more importantly, the sound that is above it, is beautiful and perfect and very well done. The car itself looks fantastic, but it is not spectacular. I'm not going to give away the finale. It's very nice, but it has been done before. And inside, I was just hoping for a bit more. You can see that effect in 20 pantos across the UK, which is done magnificently by Twins FX. But it is not breathtaking. It's just brilliant. I think in this show, for this price, it should have been groundbreaking, never seen before, and a bit like the carpet in Aladdin or the fly out of Mary Poppins, even on tour, something that you remember forever. Now, let me caveat this whole review by saying the punters loved it. They were in on it, they were captivated by it, and at the end they gave a huge standing ovation. So this is the problem I've got in this review. Is it an original piece? Yes. But has it stolen many ideas from many other shows? Yes. Is it a 5-star show? I don't think it is in its current form. It's too long. The wordy bits are too cluttered, in my opinion. They could cut at least 40 minutes from the first act and probably 20 minutes from the second act, and maybe they will. But again, you cannot charge £95 for us to watch a dress rehearsal for you to tweak, to get right, to take to town. That is unethical, it's wrong, and it's despicable. Now, are you going to have a nice time if you go and sit in a £20 seat? Absolutely. Is this a £25, £30, maybe even £40 show? You're going to have a lovely time. Can it be more expensive than Les Mis on tour? Blows my mind. The two are completely incomparable. So how they can charge £30 more for this is utterly ludicrous. However, Roger and Ollie are fantastic. There's some nice choreography to some very familiar music. How they can charge £95 is beyond my comprehension. You've been listening to another exclusive review by me, Alex Belfield, here at celebrityradio.biz. Ta-da.